Welcome. Good. How you doing? Welcome to Your View. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my lovely co-host here. Good morning, ladies.
Hello, Mariah.
How are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
You might sitting on our couch for the first time.
Yes, so I must say this couch feels good.
Right? Comfortable.
Yes.
So how are you? How's your weekend?
Weekend was beautiful. We're tired, sick, but we're good now.
You're getting closer to the end of Ramadan.
Yes, Ramadan is running out and it feels bad. I feel bad because this is when we have the special period and that's when you don't want it to run out. But I'm tired of waking up to cook, so I'm looking forward to it.
You have to cook for your husband, yourself,
yes.
and your
I want to wish you a happy birthday because yesterday
thank you.
my message didn't
Yes,
deliver.
I have to say thank you to our viewers. Honestly, the love was plenty. Thank you so much. You were greeting my husband. Happy birthday. Like, it's not me, it's my wife. Like, hey, happy birthday.
And I must say thank you to my brother-in-law. This morning I had my first flat tire, but he was there for me. Fantastic. God bless you.
Thank you. Fantastic. Hey,
now, I forgot to mention that my sales rep in my shop, she had twin. They turned one on Sunday. Yes, I remember. Enoch and Esther. I can't remember the Yoruba name. So don't even ask me. Nice but they turned one on. She had loads of cakes. Even our customers gave her cake. So she went to church with one. I said, this is a serious celebration thing. I think July is a good month.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's a fantastic month. Yes, how you doing, Tope?
I'm good. I'm very, very happy to be here.
You don't look it or you don't sound it.
I'm trying to sift out which of the summer school that I'll take my children to.
Yeah.
It's a little. I know that they're too old to just keep at home and just expecting that they would catch up when they get back. So it's just in my head. I said I'll discuss it with Uwa, but if you have suggestions, you can tweet to me and let me know what your suggestions.
So, a lady opposite my house, Sister Auntie Martha, I believe. She came to my house to market her after school, and honestly, I mean, my daughter, I mean, I'm really optimistic about it. I think it's going to be a good experience for her. She has a whole nice thing going on summer school. We're going to do that. So maybe you should try that too. And she actually sent me a cake yesterday. I'm like, wow, her mom and the teachers sent me a cake. Do you know what I mean? That was fantastic. It was good marketing.
Because you can't forget. You can't forget.
My birthday, for your information, is coming up November.
And you like red velvet.
And chocolate.
All right, we have a news mention this morning. Working moms have more successful daughters and have actually also more caring sons, says Harvard Business School study. Goodness, right?
It's fantastic. I think it breeds responsibility because you see that your primary caregiver is working, she's responsible, she's to a large extent independent. So it's because they're our first role models as children. Our first role model for the children are the parents. So if your mother is doing well, if your mother is enterprising,
I totally disagree with
it helps
that
out
argument.
Don't you think it's because they're left alone early in life to take care of certain things, they get independent on their own? Because you know they have
well, that's an angle, but it's also that because the mother also is used to a structure.
Yeah, so the daughter is already seeing that structure, and it's easy for her to blame. But I don't think it's 100% correct because I know a lot of people that had sit-home mothers and they're doing exceptionally well. True. So it can sway both ways. Yeah.
Because I know in my house, I always tell, like, when the watchman comes, he should sign that he came in. You know those structures in place?
And that's because
he signs in and signs out, so I know I'm paying you, this is what, this is how many times you came to iron.
And your children have ambition because they've seen their mom successful.
But at the same time, also, it could be you abandon the child and they become more independent, just like you said. Anyway, just like you said, it can sway both ways. All right, that's all we can do on this banter. When we return, we'll look through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, good morning. Oh, I'm really flustered this morning. Let's start with the Punch. Yes, unpaid salaries. Buhari okays 713.7 billion naira for federal government and states. That's $1.7 billion ECA funds to be shared. You can see a picture here of members of the gang that robbed the two commercial banks in Ipakoto area of Ikorodu. Our leaders still hiding in the creeks, they say. Let's see, highlights of the bailout package. Federal government states to share 413.7 billion naira, which is $2.1 billion, from the NLNG payments. CBN to provide 300 billion naira soft loans for states. States 660 billion naira commercial loans for restructuring. APC expels Gombe ex-governor Goje. Loot recovery. Buhari may not use EFCC and ICPC. Forgery. Police detectives quiz National Assembly clerk and senators. Governors can't pay workers because of corruption, says Saraki. Lots and lots of stories here. I just kept reading and reading.
EFCC, ICPC.
Yeah, they said, but our president might not use them.
Because, you know, corruption is one of the things that we need our president to deal with. The country is broke, and then we have a lot of bills. People have looted our economy. He's saying that the paper is saying that they're going to use a private.
But it's not for sure. He has not come out to say that.
Well,
that's
what the punch.
From the
reporter. Punch said,
that it seems the president would not use, because they didn't say a categorical that the president wouldn't use EFCC, ICPC. They're saying it seems that he might not be using them, he will be boycotting them and using a private firm. My concern is that we have a institutional crisis. I understand the president might not want to use EFCC, ICPC, being that they also have entrenched they've had cases of people being taken to the court, spending years in court, and then they are acquitted based on lack of a proper evidence. So I understand why he might not want to use it, but I feel that as opposed to just saying boycotting them, the president should change the leadership, because I know everything rises and falls on the leadership. A new leadership in all the system might actually trickle down to stop.
But what I read in that article is like the president is going to give about 2-3 months to gather all the data he needs before they now start saying, okay, do I get the consultant or do I get the ICPC or way to
I think what every Nigerian should expect from this new government is that things cannot remain status quo, because if we're hoping for change, a lot of parastatal, they need to scrap some of them. Do you understand? Because we know how these things work. All of a sudden, EFCC is working, and you know, a lot of people are busy. There are allegations of embezzlement and all that.
All right,
so I think we should just
the nation.
Hope.
Buhari approves 713.7 billion naira for states to pay workers. How we robbed banks in Lekki, Ikorodu by suspects. We planned the operation from Ishawo Creeks. Million and his men came to us and told us about the operation. Million brought guys from Warri. Hey, voila. Nobody's name is
Area.
Okay, now.
I think it's the nickname.
51 Boko Haram blast victims buried in Jos. Police quiz Ekweremadu National Assembly clerk. Fayose behind my detention, says Yaloja. All right, these are our armed robbers. Did you guys read
another paper?
There's another paper.
I want to talk about the Fayose case, because
read it.
Yes, the Yaloja called the Nation yesterday, I think about 8:30 p.m., that she's been detained at the police station based on statement orders from Fayose. That's what she claims, that it was the president of the governor of Ekiti State that called for her detention in order to extract a 93 million naira from her, based on that she's the Yoloja, that they got this money from the allocation of markets. Allocation of markets was done under Fayemi. Now, she said that she doesn't know anything about the money. Fayemi handled the allocation, and that all they did was to contribute money to rebuild the bonds market. Also, they're complaining about the fact that they are overtaxing. Their money is being, they were paying 3,000 naira per annum before for the shops, and now Governor Fayose said they should start paying 10,000 naira. But she's just screaming out just to ensure that they release her. She doesn't know anything about the money.
And it was just the Nation she could call. Just
really?
Yeah, the Nation.
Really?
The governor's version is not
Let's move on to the Vanguard.
We need to hear the governor's. I know he will be quick to respond to that.
We're waiting for his response. I'm sure he will respond to that this day.
Or punch.
Vanguard. Buhari okays. The figures are changing here. 804.7 billion naira lifeline for states. You can see here the Ikorodu robbery suspects. Applause one more for our police. I mean, I think it was a fantastic breakthrough they had there.
SARS was on point.
Yes. Ekweremadu, police storms National Assembly. how we robbed the Ikorodu, that's the bank suspect, and 15 million bank customers registered for BVN. That's good. Just blast. NEMA confirms 44 dead and 47 injured. Let's talk about these armed robbers once and for all.
Oh, well,
I read the.
And I read it in the Sun.
I
wanted to talk about the NEMA report about the 44 people that died in Jos. Unfortunately, when I read the story, people taking part in the Ramadan evening prayers, which is compulsory for the period, and everybody will always go to the mosque for it, were those who fell victim to it. How do we want to curb this? Yesterday, I heard suggestions, that they should search people at the entrance of religious places yesterday. I felt if they could, put in place some kind of check, the Muslims, taking part in congregation prayers, since they know it's compulsory and they must do it for this month, even if it's just for this period of time, they should, put serious checks in place, because most people in the mosque couldn't have gone out of the mosque at the time of the bomb blast. They lost their lives that way.
But beyond the bomb, the mosque one, there was also another one at the eatery and all that. It's occurring back to back, and our heart goes out to them. This thing died out a while back, and it's coming back again. I just pray for wisdom, because at this point, it's not as if nobody really knows what to do. So wisdom for our leaders.
On TV yesterday, someone was saying that he would wish if the president will return the roadblocks back on the roads. But I don't think that is the solution. It is
one. Then
because
two, what they call service chiefs. It seems to me they are failing, and I expect by now that there should be a change, or a reshuffling of the entire service. In fact, take them out, retire them, put some other people with new ideas, because their ideas are they are running out of ideas already. They are not working. It seems to me they are not even at in Medjugorje or Yobe, or close to where this thing is happening mainly.
But I don't think roadblocks are the solution. Sure.
All right, moving on to Daily Sun. President Buhari rescues states. Picture here, former ministers and I think a family member celebrating 50th birthday. Whose 50th birthday is this? Confession of deadly robbers. Okay, we talk about that. 44 killed in Jos bomb blast, talked about that. Abia North Tribunal opens pre-trial hearing on Carlos' petition. Okay.
This robbers matter. The story says that I think there are like 5 in Lagos. Then they recruited about, was it 18 or 24?
There are 18 of them.
No, how many did they recruit from Niger Delta?
According to the Sun report, one of the robbers one of the suspects that was confessing said he is a boat driver, and that what he does is not robbery, but he takes part in bunkering. He has never stolen in his life.
Bunkering is not stealing.
He's not stealing. So that he was recruited amongst his other friends because they know the waterways and the terrain within Lagos, and the guys that recruited them, the main robbery gang, are from Delta State. That means they were formed somewhere there.
And from the reports, one of the robbers said he's a father of 2. That he's involved in dealing with selling logs of wood, that the business had been slow for a while, and he does not have there's no job, no source of livelihood. And you now decide that you want to go and rob to make money. And the sad part of this thing is that they bought SUVs, SUVs. And I'm wondering, this is what we constantly celebrate in our country. Because, trust me, it's easy for you to detect somebody that stole.
But it's very foolish, though, that you have nothing.
And you just go and buy an SUV tomorrow overnight.
And you think nobody raised an eyebrow?
Nobody raises
eyebrow, Mariah. That's why.
Society celebrates anything, any sort of, we just want you to be rich.
No, somebody raised an eyebrow. That's how they found them in the first place, because they
were dry. It was the SARS caught them while they were taking their
they were going to their village,
going back to their villages, and searched and found the notes within them. So it wasn't about the car. It wasn't the car that brought attention. We need to continue. We need to start ask questions. People don't just
Tokwe wanted to buy a car. Sanzi wanted to buy a car. We know how much they were saving.
And we're saving towards it, and everybody knows about it.
And tomorrow now somebody buys a Jeep, and that's just as if maybe he stole. Yeah. Come on,
so I think that this clearly shows to me the state of our country. How much we have replaced material things for morals. Because the first thing they went to do is just to go and buy cars. All
right, moving on to The Guardian. Federal government approves fresh 414 billion naira for share. How come the figures are changing?
No, Vanguard didn't actually change the figures. They broke it down in their report.
Okay, I saw the breakdown there. Yes. Okay, well, we're having a guest coming to elaborate more on this, so let's not spend too much time on that. We have here former Greek finance minister Yanis Varoufakis and his wife Danae in downtown Athens shortly after his resignation. He said life is just beginning. Why Nigeria's football is dying by stakeholders. Excuse me. Gridlock on mile 2 Apapa Road as tanker drivers defy quit order. All right, any story there picking up?
This super hour football matter. I want somebody to come and explain to
Check why they fired Keshi.
You know they fired Keshi. And there's the reports, they were just saying like different things that has happened, that we are no longer, you know, that we don't have that relevance that we used to have. You know,
4 places.
Yes. So and you know, most times when they even do all these things, our players don't really have so much of synergy. They would rather go abroad where they will be paid better, they will live in better conditions. So I think it's beyond saying that the system even the Nigerian system itself needs to change for the football to get better. A better reward system.
All right, we have to round up. We can't take the last paper, but that's all we can take on our front page review. When we return, Nigerians abandon preventive measures after Ebola outbreak. That's a hot topic. And later, we'll be discussing tapping into this crude oil to pay Nigerian workers' salaries. Stay with us. We'll be right back. The declaration by the World Health Organization, WHO, that Nigeria is now officially free of the Ebola disease may have caused the residents to relax measures to keep the virus at bay. From schools to banks and other public places, the strict measures to screen for signs of the disease put into place where actually has been stopped for a while. According to reports, many corporate organizations, including banks, hotels, as well as schools across various states, have now relaxed in checking for Ebola. Now, what are your thoughts on this, especially now that we found that Ebola is back?
Especially in Liberia specifically.
It's back. So we need to make sure that we're back. We are also continuously aware of this disease. But you can call us on 0708066814. You can tweet to us at YourViewTVC to join this conversation. All right, so, well, I'm not totally very, very scared, but I'm just worried that we've just not taken it as serious as we used to in the past. And that's my only worry. I'm not scared of it coming to Nigeria because I doubt if that would happen again.
When I saw this report, I was just laughing. You know, I was laughing because Nigerians, or generally humans, we like to be reactive. It's very few people that you get that you see that they are proactive in measures. Now, when the Ebola thing was all over the place, I went to charter hand sanitizer. I'm looking at the hand sanitizer every day in my place of business, and they look at me, they look at me. Nobody is picking up any hand sanitizers. Nobody, you know, is conscious of things. Even, you know, everybody lets their guard down when you see like life is not posing like a threat, you know. But you see, the Ebola thing for me, like I said, was that I was happy about the awareness of hygiene that it brought. You know, because the level of dirt that we encounter every day is too enormous. So I'm thinking that maybe it should be like a campaign. Schools, you know, churches, everybody. It's not about even if the Ebola decides not to come back. Let us take our hygiene, you know, very seriously. That's my take.
We've seen Ebola. We've experienced it, you know, as much as we're able to curb it. I think that we shouldn't wait until something else hits us in the face. Then we start scrabbling around again.
But Tokwe, what's even worse, sorry to cut you off, is the fact that even when you travel out and come back these days, it's not as, you know, when
I was coming in, they still checked my temperature. I think when you're going out, they check your temperature. When you're coming in, they check your temperature. I think we still do. At least I came back recently. They still check your temperature to be sure that you're not, and that's the basic one to use to, because they feel that when you're already displaying the symptom of Ebola, you run very high temperature. So they still check the temperature. That I can still say.
You still go through health.
That's like the most. It's
basic.
Almost, yes. It's almost. I feel that the real thing. Apart from Ebola, we have cholera outbreak. We still have these things to deal with. The important part is that we have, as a country, decided that hygiene is a way forward to prevent contagious diseases. Suddenly, because we don't have that looming Ebola in front of us, we've backed out of it. We need to go back and understand that the hygiene, your sanitizers don't just prevent Ebola passing. It also prevents you from getting things like catarrh, cold, common cold from going around. It's courtesy for you to, after sneezing into your hand, use sanitizer and prevent it from passing to other people. We need to make it a culture to be cautious and cautious about all those things.
Now, okay.
So for me, the public places, owners of businesses and all that who had installed sanitizers in their business places that stopped doing them. And then the awareness, I want to commend TVC because the awareness for Ebola is still ongoing on TV stations. Yes. We see the adverts all the time. But and
our sanitizers are still working. If you still put your hand, you still see sanitizer.
I just nobody puts their hand there.
But anytime I do, I still see it.
Well, but the public places, the owners of public places, I think the cost of running those, putting those things in place, they just felt this relief when the whole thing ended and decided that okay, fine, we're out of it. But then we should continue to ensure that these measures are put in place because people who come in, you necessarily cannot, but some people just enjoy the fun of putting their hands and getting.
And again, we don't even know the source of this last person that got that. They can't figure it out. So we don't even know.
That's why I'm going.
How
we
you
can't
can
say Nigeria because someone Moria just said now that Nigeria we're safe. We hope it won't come back, but we can't say that for Nigeria because our borders are porous. Clearly, even the ones where we have the customs, they're not being checked. Topper was giving an example of someone still checking a temperature. That's at the airport. When you pass through
your area, your Kutonu,
our regular, you just pass through. In fact, your yellow fever, nobody still checks it because immediately the thing went down, everybody just relaxed again. And then that's the way, the fastest means to come in because when nobody's checking anybody, we're going to have it back off.
This thing she said about yellow fever, Mariah. You go to the health clinic. Do you know that we hardly take those injections? They will just give you a card.
Yeah, yes, now.
Do you understand?
No, traveling. It's essay. They were demanding that. I just went to go.
Just go and collect. You just collect it and you go.
So the solution.
The thing is that we are so. How do I put this grammar now? We are not even conscious of the fact that if they tell you to go and bring a yellow card, it's for your own benefit. It's not for the person. We just look at it, I beg you, just pay 1,000 naira and collect it. You see, this corruption matter, it is not from it is from the grassroots that we have to start uprooting.
Because it's not just because if you go to another person's country and you catch yellow fever, or you even take it to them,
they will ask you that you're supposed to have been immunized against this or taking the
So it's not really for just like you said, it's not for their benefits, for your own benefit. So that you don't get contacted. But now let's go back to us being more careful in Nigeria because the truth is that I've been to lots of supermarkets, and though they are selling, I don't know if your own sanitizer is still working.
It's working.
Because anytime I go to the supermarket, I put my hand there, it's empty. So I think what's more important is that Nigerians need to understand that, especially public places, I think they should make it imperative for the owners to put this into ensure, because I can't check your bag to ensure that you have it, but the public places must, we have to, maybe the local government, local government should get involved to make sure these supermarkets or these public places Ebola, must have.
And I think that was where we missed it. So when the Ebola scare went, we didn't feel the need to. We should attach it to we should make it a way of life. You said. Yes, make it a way of life that if I shake this person, let's just teach our children to be more cautious. When you have sanitizer, we used to have like hand wash. I went to one popular restaurant in the heat of Ebola, and they had like a bottle of water outside, like a canister dispensing water and soap. Everybody wash your hand before you enter. And I felt like, so you can do this. This is something we should be doing default system anyway.
Yeah. Moreyo, now I want to go to public toilets. It is, I don't know how to put it. When my sister went for her master's in the UK, and when we went visiting, she told me that she's begging me, you better don't. The fact that the toilet is looking extremely white and clean does not mean that when she came, everywhere she goes, she sits until she now caught some deadly, But I'm just saying that even the toilets that we have, public toilets, it's like an eyesore.
General hygiene.
We don't have, there's no hygiene consciousness. Now, roads, look at the rains that are falling. I saw some people's houses, I was weeping on Sunday because my mom called me to tune in, and I was seeing flood everywhere. Now, imagine if we had any communicable disease that could go through like water.
Sharp.
Do you know the number of dead bodies that would have, or sick people that would have? Yes, that would have sick people on our hands, and a lot of people cases of death. So I think it is beyond just saying that okay, we want to use hand sanitizers. Everything has to change.
And even the most simplest one, when you just use the toilet,
Gosh.
as basic as washing your hands and using sanitizer. People don't do that anymore.
Do you know that when it's so bad that when I use the toilet, I make sure that I take tissue. I now wipe the toilet seat before I leave that toilet. I wash my hands before I leave the toilet. But you go to a toilet, you cannot find tissue. You cannot. Most toilets even abroad, they have the paper spread in case you want to do the number 2.
You know. Let me take this call from Albert. Albert, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, man. Good morning.
Morning, please go ahead.
I miss you for almost 1 week now. I'm not going to show because of life problem.
Sorry about
when
that.
When our program start, I don't go take light. How am I doing?
Fine.
Even now, say I don't wash you. I want call. I just call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
We are doing a great job.
Thank you. He's not watching it just to make it just call.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Thank you. But in rounding off, I feel that we should, like, lessons we should learn. If Ebola can get back into Liberia, even though they were also declared free, Nigeria isn't immune. Let's not just fool ourselves.
I want to take this particular one. Jimmy Wale says, this hot topic is done in Jare. We are Ebola free. You ladies should leave that. I want to address. No, that's the attitude we are talking about. Everybody has relaxed. You know, we don't want to carry this whole burden of Ebola. You know, checking your neighbor, being careful. We don't want to put it on in our minds. You know, on our minds and all that. But look at what Liberia is going through right now. They suffered the highest for this, and it came back to them. We are relaxed. We are carefree. We are the ones most at risk. So we should be careful.
So we should
see that Ebola came through the.
Please left that Egypt. We are eating bush meat. There's nothing wrong with bush meat. We don't even go there. That's that.
Very well.
But interesting, I was going to mention an observation I had. That most of our callers, instead of them to admit that they like that, they say, my wife likes your show. My wife really likes your show. I'm wondering, so you don't like it. It's not true.
No, somebody said on Twitter that he's almost falling off his chair whenever he sees us on the show. So,
all right, that's all we can take on Hot Topic. When we return, now we're going to be talking about, first of all, our president is taking out of that crude oil, the excess crude account, to pay salaries, right? To pay salaries for the states. And also, somehow, in relation to that, Lagos State has somewhat managed to pay their own salaries. They're not owing. So we're going to talk to somebody who knows, who will teach us, expose us to, okay, is it a good idea to dip into this excess credit account? And how did Lagos State do it? Because he was actually at the helm of affairs. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Nigeria's situation has somewhat degenerated to the point that a good number of states are unable to meet their financial obligations to their workers, about 12, I believe. Now, how can we pay the salaries? Our president actually bailed us out. He's giving out, I think, what was the figure? The figures catching in the papers. Is it 900, 700 and something?
804
billion naira is being taken from our excess credit account to pay and help these states. That means that the loans will be increased.
And our account will be empty.
Yes, that's one angle. Then the other one, because you were, oh my son, I forgot to introduce you. I'm flustered today. We have to invite our Pastor Ben Akagwezi is our guest today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I'm so ready to go into the topic that I totally forgot to introduce you. I'm so sorry about that. I read it in the papers. All right. So you've been listening to our conversation. Now, our president has dipped into our ECA. Is that a good idea?
Well, first of all, I mean, you know, let's not make this thing our president has. The excess crude account belongs to the federation. It's not a federal government account.
Okay.
And basically what has happened is given approval for some amount, the amount, you know, the balance in that account to be distributed. There are people who argue that, first of all, constitutionally, there should not even have been anything in that account in the first place. It should have been distributed. But thank God that there was something there, you know, for a time, you know, such as this. So this distribution is not just going to the states that are owing. The funds in this account are going to be distributed to all the states and the federal government and the local governments in accordance with the revenue distribution formula. The expectation, however, is that those states that are owing, when they get their own share, they would, prioritize payment, of the salary arrears. And I'm hoping that in this process, there will be a mechanism for ensuring that those states actually use those funds in the first instance to pay those arrears.
Let me come to you, sir, because you were the Commissioner of Economic and Planning in Lagos State in the last administration with Governor Fashola. Now, first question, did you attend the FAC meetings that Okonjo-Iweala said every month, where they agreed on how much to share? Did you attend the meetings, or did the Commissioner of Finance attend? The
Commissioner for Finance attended the meetings. The monthly FAC meetings are attended by the Commissioners for Finance, the Accountant Generals of the Accountant General of the states, then the Accountant General of the Federation, and those meetings were chaired by the Minister of State for Finance. Okay. My colleague, the former Commissioner for Finance, always reported back, and because we worked closely together, I got a report monthly. And as a matter of fact, towards the end of the term of that administration, I recall that there was a query. The commissioners queried the fact that $2 billion was taken out of the excess crude account to pay arrears owed to oil marketers. Yes, and this wasn't previously discussed, agreed, at the FAC meeting. And when they queried it, they were told that the former president approved it, and they requested to see the justification for the approval, and until we left office, he didn't report back that they had seen such, such approval.
So obviously every state got allocations to meet their bills, which is like the recurrent. And within that frame of time, we have some states going for 11 months, some for 9 months, some for 7 months, some for 3 months. If they were not able to judiciously manage the allocation they got monthly, how do we believe that giving them our savings, supposed to be our savings, excess crude oil account, give to them will now, how are we sure that they would manage the one given to them well, and it will do what it's meant to do, which is to pay the salaries?
Why didn't it even manage that first one?
Then how can we now, what can we do to ensure that those that mismanage those ones are punished for mismanagement of funds? Because it's expected that your allocation should pay the salaries. Yeah. If it doesn't pay, then something is wrong.
There are 3 questions already. Let him answer that one first. Because we have so many questions for you. See, we're really rushing to get you.
Well, I don't want to sound that's ungracious to some of these states that have run into this challenge. There are a number of reasons, okay? Bottom line is there was an unanticipated decline, a steep decline in their revenues, and they could no longer meet their obligations in terms of salaries. One, you can question how come they didn't anticipate, that decline. Yes, risk management, planning, and whatever. But I hope that lessons have been learned. Yes. People think maybe in Lagos State we didn't have this problem because we had a lot of money. No, it wasn't really that. It was actually, it took a lot of planning. For instance, I don't know how many states in the country have a wage policy. We have a wage policy in Lagos State which says that, okay, we will not spend more than 25% of our total revenues or 35% of our internally generated revenues on salaries. That's a limit, a policy limit that we negotiated and agreed with Labour in 2009. And it's transparent. Everybody knows how much revenues are coming in on a monthly basis. Every quarter, as Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, I had to review compliance with this policy and report. So we always kept an eye on that number and made sure we couldn't hire people in a manner that will reach that. We couldn't sign on to any wage increases that would, put us beyond that. And if you have a situation where, your personnel costs do not exceed 25% of your revenues, you have a 75% cushion. It would take, it would take a total, collapse of revenues for you to now get to the point where you could, you're not.
I was going to add to Tokwe's question that there were strong allegations against most of those governors who could not pay salaries, like Benue State, for instance, that the monies they got from the ECA were spent on elections, that they saved up, for their campaign and all that to get back into the Senate or wherever. What's your take on it? Do you think those allegations are, baseless or, strong?
I'm not in a position to speak to the veracity of those, allegations. And unfortunately, when you find yourself in a situation like this, anybody can throw any allegation at you. You've got...
Okay, let me not push it to that, but yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask that I know that Lagos State is involved in a lot of revenue generation, like internally generated funds that most times they don't really depend on, those allocations that they get. So what's your advice to most states, on how probably Lagos State did it and how they can also do, because I know Ogun State is seriously working on a lot of housing, projects and, road networks, for Ogun State. So I don't know, what's your advice to other states and how did Lagos State, generate their own revenue?
Well, again, revenues don't, they don't drop from the sky.
True.
Okay. You have to create economic activities.
Good.
It is off the back of those economic activities that you can collect revenues.
True.
If there's nothing happening in your state in terms of economic activities, there will be no revenues to collect. True. And so what we tried to do in Lagos was consciously try to drive economic activity, drive growth in different sectors of the economy, recognizing that as those sectors grow, then you can. So for instance, when we embarked on our aggressive infrastructure development program, each of those construction sites also represented revenue sources for us. Because all those artisans, all those who work there, as they are paid, we also collect our taxes.
True.
Okay. As you create work, more work for the construction companies, then they can employ more people.
Very true.
As they employ those more people, your tax base increases. Even at those construction sites, you had all the ERC and whatever selling, food and all of those, whatever.
Okay. So generally an economic hub.
Yeah. Good morning, Yakub. Are you there?
I'm there.
Sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning to you all. Let me just go straight to the point. And then I'm very sorry to take you back to the formal topic. You see, what is the work of NOA, National Orientation Agency? Because I think this kind of agencies, they have already done their work. Even though, I don't know why they just don't, because they supposed to, the work of National Orientation Agency, that is what the TVC is doing. Up to today, TVC is giving us publicity about this Ebola issues. But the federal government, the agencies working for the federal government, they already stopped all those publicity. And then come to this topic. You cannot see the brain behind the successful of the Governor Raji Fashola. If you can imagine the gentleman in the middle, look at the planning. That is where, when Lagos State are not following anybody, and then they're planning ahead before today. And then what you say earlier about the former Minister of
Finance.
I think you know what I'm talking about. Look at what the woman did. You remove money from the money that they are not approved, and then you spend the money, and then you are telling us nobody should ask you a question.
Thank you so much,
Imagine,
Jacob.
thank you.
Yes, so we're here with our former Commissioner of Economic and Planning in Lagos State in the past administration with Governor Fashola, our action governor. So we wanted to get into the ECA, why we're deep into, but I know I want Tokwe to finish up some questions on Lagos State matters. So let me let you go first, Tokwe.
I have two questions. One, being that Lagos State is reputed to be the richest state in terms of internal generated revenue, is there any saving plan to save for the future? One. Number two, the doctors there was an ongoing battle between the doctors asking for extra money, saying they deserve better and all that. How did you... people didn't like
your money that you steal. How come you didn't pay them?
Yes, you're making so much money and you cannot pay
They went on strike.
They still went on strike. So what do we do?
Well, let me begin with whether there are savings. We believed that the biggest savings we could make for Lagosians was to invest in infrastructure. Okay, and so that was, I mean, the principal form of savings. Of course, we have savings for different purposes. For instance, we have a consolidated debt service account. And every month, 15% of our revenues is put in there to just make sure that we can meet all our future obligations, to financiers. But to go back to the doctors issue. First of all, it is not true that the doctors were being owed. Okay, we have a dispute with the doctors, which arose from the doctors embarking on illegal strikes. And so the state government decided to implement what it called no work, no pay policy. We, implemented the consolidated, whatever salary scale that, the federal government had approved. We implemented that. That was not the source of dispute. In Lagos State, right now, the real issue is that the rest of the civil service thinks that the state is unduly favoring the doctors. Issues like the elongation. So the doctors are preferentially treated. Okay. But we, and then we said to them, look, we don't have a dispute with you. They said, oh, their national union called them out on strike. And so they went on strike. And we served them notice that we will implement the no work, no pay. So for the period that they were on strike, that they went on that legal strike, the government said, we will not pay. And that's the only dispute, really, that, it's, yes.
Let me take this call from Abayomi, Ikorodu. Abayomi, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Please go ahead.
I just have a great question for Mr. Ben. If I'm correct, I think last year, 2013, he talked about the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Just want to ask him, is still in view? That's the question. And where is it landing?
Okay.
I'm aware of the cost, about 300-something billion naira.
Right.
Just want a straight answer.
Thank you very much. Fourth Mainland Bridge.
Well, the Fourth Mainland Bridge, from inception, had always been conceived as a project that will be delivered through public-private partnership.
Okay.
Okay. There have been a number of alignments. One of the best alignments that we figured out, unfortunately, there was a lot of encroachment on there. And to sustain that alignment, would have entailed demolishing several houses, people. And even though those houses were put up in the alignment without approval, if government had gone ahead to demolish those houses, the same public will turn around and accuse government of insensitivity and all of that. And some people will argue anyway, it's a failure of your enforcement mechanism. Where were you when they were building those houses and whatever? And for all of those reasons, the government decided to, seek an alternative alignment. So, that bit has been done. The real issue is, financing it. Of course, at some point there was a lot of interest in, by private investors who were prepared to. But after the experience of LCC on the Lekki, just expressway, the honest truth is that, investor interest in delivering PPP infrastructure has, cooled off. And so maybe down the road,
we can have it again.
We'll get into a position where the state will be able to, to finance it. But in the interim, what the state government did was, well, a bridge really. The purpose of a bridge is to create a crossing over water. And we said, well, since we cannot immediately deliver a bridge, we can at least deliver an alternative, yes, to, to crossing this. So we built two major ferry terminals, one at the Badore end and the other at Ipakodo in Ikorodu, which approximately is the area that the bridge was to income. Yes. And the idea is that, between these two, terminals, you'll also have ferries that, carry vehicles.
Do we have that right now?
So those have been, ordered, and, I don't know what the current state is. And so people can actually then achieve a crossing without a bridge. Of course, it's not as efficient as having a bridge, but that's an interim measure.
Okay, all right. So we're about to close the show, but I need you to just go back to this excess crude account, because that's what started this conversation. Our president has dipped into it. What's the downside of doing that, please? Well,
the downside is that you've basically used up the cushion that you have. So if there was another crisis sometime soon, you have nothing to fall back on. And, the excess crude account is from, excesses in terms of your, yes, the oil revenues over and above the budget reference, price. For the rest of this year, we're not likely to see any significant increase in, unless the unthinkable happens. And in the oil industry, the unthinkable often happens. So, which means you will not see a replenishment of this, ECA sometime soon, and it takes it, off our cushion, and that's a danger.
Let's take some tweets before we close the show. Any tweets?
Olukayode Salako says President Buhari should be advised to involve some of these Fashola commissioners in the management of Nigeria. They are good. And Sunday James said, withdrawing from the savings account, personal, corporate, government is never ideal for any whose aim is to achieve financial freedom. Ogene Karo Osai says, people like Ben Akabweze will be needed in the federal level. Kudos to you, sir.
Titi Lokpe Akosa says, bailout was on point. People need to survive first to contribute to development.
Eweji says, please kindly ask the former commissioner, why can't they help other states with the strategies they use in Lagos?
Why
so are you hoping to
money?
help? No, not money.
They
now.
can even send
the
them
strategies.
money to help them. Why didn't you even send them money to help?
You could loan to them.
Someone like Oshu, Dan Dempsey. You're just giving him money to pay salaries.
first of all, I mean, the constitutional issues. The funds don't belong to the government.
Yeah.
The funds belong to the people of, Lagos State. And, they haven't given the governor the right to use their funds to...
You'll be willing to offer your services to other states.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, and we do that sometimes informally and all of that.
That's
we have
good.
friends in
Unfortunately,
the
we have to
States
round up the show. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We hijacked you from our news channel, but thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you for enlightening and explaining to us and opening to us what our action governor and your team did together. Well, we're happy with everybody now, so hopefully. All right, that's all we can take on today's show. Tomorrow is another day. God bless you. See you. Bye-bye.
Where are you?